This technique has been around for decades, used on countless films, commercials, and music videos, yet I was scared to try it. What if I mess this up? How do I delete the background? What are those plus signs that they're putting on the background? What is happening? The art of green screen. By the end of this video, you'll know the best tips for shooting green screen, editing, and also some effects to make your music videos 100 times better. First things first, I won't be covering tracking in this video. Unfortunately, I'm a novice green screen user. I'm not gonna be able to teach you how to make a Disney film, but if you're doing music videos like me and you wanna make something that looks stylistic, I got you. Now, first things first, I think it goes without saying, tell your subject to not wear green or don't wear green if you're the subject of it. It's gonna be nearly impossible for you to key somebody out who has on an all green outfit, so don't wear green. The next thing is the material of the green screen actually doesn't matter. I used to be very intimidated by green screen because I didn't know what to use for. It can be fabric, it can be paper backdrops, it could be a green sight wall. I've used pretty much all of these things. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that this green material is lit well. When you're doing your lighting for your green screen shots, I recommend that you use a light specifically to light the green screen. So make sure you're honing in and focusing on lighting up whatever fabric you're using. The next thing is just to light your subject however you want them in the scene. If you already have a background that you know you're gonna put into your green screen shot, it's gonna be best for you to light your subject to how that light from the background would be omitting on them. If you don't know what you're doing, like me a lot of the times, I just go with like a Rembrandt and a kicker light on the side. This works most of the time for me. And the last thing is when you're shooting green screen shots, make sure you up your shutter speed higher than what you normally would. When you're filming other things, you're gonna wanna stick to the 180-degree shutter rule, but with green screen, make sure you up it up to at least double. This is gonna reduce the motion blur that you're gonna get from your subject moving in the shot, and it's gonna make it a lot easier for you to key those shots. All right, let's get into the editing. After you've done your shooting for your green screen shots, this is what you should have. I'm in Final Cut Pro 10, but these tips are gonna be relevant for whatever editing program you're using. First things first, you need to add in a keyer. I'm not sure what keyers are called inside of DaVinci Resolve or inside of Premiere Pro, but find the thing that's gonna key out the background. Hop on Google, find it. This should be super simple. Drop your keyer on your clip, and this is gonna do the majority of the work. It's a ton of different settings in here that you can adjust. If you want the edges for your green screen to be softer, you want them to be harder, you wanna bring them in closer, or you need to fill in any of the holes that you might get from the green screen. All of these settings in here are gonna help you do that. The next thing that we need to do is we need to structure our scene. So this is gonna be framing up clips how we would like to see them in the scene. This is also gonna be adding shadows, and then after that, we're gonna add a background to this. I have a bunch of clips stacked on top of each other. These are all green screen, and these are all shots that I wanna see inside of the scene for the music video. I'm gonna paste my keyer onto all of these different clips. And then from here, I'm just gonna move these clips to how I would like to see them in the scene. I would like to see them in like a circle shape, similar to what I did for the Redhead music video. So I'm just gonna go in and adjust my position for these different clips. So with my circle orientation right here, shadows aren't really necessary because people aren't really touching each other. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter with this one, but I went ahead and set up another scenario that would make sense for shadows to be in it. So with this setup right here, you can see Redhead is in front of the model. So in order for this to make sense, a drop shadow would make it more believable. Add in a really soft shadow behind him to make it make sense with the current lighting situation. If we look at this clip, you can see we have our key light off to the right. So that means that the shadow would be casted to the left and a little bit of that shadow would be on the model. So if I move the shadow over a little bit, I'm just gonna increase the blur, like super up. And then you can see when we play this right here, now you can see a little bit of shadow is gonna be hitting that model behind. All right, so we got our two orientations. Now it's time to drop in our backgrounds. So you can get backgrounds from anywhere. Google, I got mine from Storyblocks. It's even some that motionvfx offers. I got a whole motion backgrounds folder right here. And the one that I decided to go with for this music video was this one right here. So just looking at the scene as is with the background, just how it is, I can instantly see that I want to do some adjustments to it. I think that the lines are too sharp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a blur, a Gaussian blur, and I'm just going to drop that on there and adjust the intensity. I think that looks good right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the intensity of the background. I don't want it to be as bright as it is. I kind of want it to just be subtle in the background. So I'm going to drop my opacity down to around like a 18%. I think that right there looks good. We framed up our shots, we keyed out our shots, we added in our background, we adjusted our background how we would like it to be. Next thing for us to do is to make a compound clip. Compound clip is going to make it easier for us to add effects on top of this and even motion later down the line in post. So just select all of the clips in the scene that you have, right click, and just create a new compound clip. And then for this one, we'll compound this one to VFX1. And now it's time to do effects. Now it is a million different effects that you can do for your VFX shots. For this one right here, for me particularly, I knew that it was in a circle and I knew that I was gonna be wanting to rotate this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keyframe in some rotation spots, and then throughout the performance, you'll see this rotating a little bit. I'm gonna cut the VFX clip right there, and then I'm just gonna add in some rotation keyframes, drop a keyframe right there for rotation, and drop a keyframe right there for rotation. And I'm just gonna up the amount to 350 or so. And if we play this, we can see that we have hard edges on pretty much every single side, not just the background, but on the artists and the models as well. This is where the effects are gonna come in to kind of mask what's happening here. We can just increase the scale right here, and then we can go back in and we can readjust how close the artists and the models' heads are into the frame just to make sure we see them. But the effects will really play a big part into how we can mask these edges. Now, like I said, it's a ton of different effects that you can use on green screen. It's not just subjective to what I'm about to show you, but the effects that I'm using are for motion VFX, and I use them for pretty much all of the VFX that I've done in the past. The plugins that really helped with this effect that I did in this music video was the M Music Video plugin and also the M Restyle plugin, which I'm gonna show you guys right now. So the first thing that we wanna fix are the edges. So I'm gonna head over to the M Restyle pack and I'm gonna go find me a glitch overlay. Glitch overlay is gonna make the project more cohesive as a whole, like looking wise. You can see right now, the background and the artist and the model don't really match the scene that well. So this glitch is gonna help make it more cohesive and look like it's part of each other. This M Restyle plugin has a ton of different overlay effects that you can just drag and drop on top of your clips to make it look a lot more stylistic. So I'm gonna reach for one of these glitches in the pack, and I'm just gonna drag this over top of this area right here. And what you can see that's happening is we're getting a bunch of different effects on top of this. Now I'm gonna go through and turn some of these off. I don't want this to animate in or animate off. I also don't even want the glitches. I don't want the channel shift. I don't want the prism either. The only thing that I'm really looking to pull from this is the lens distortion. If I turn this off and on, you can see that it's really fraying those edges of the clip. And this is gonna help us a lot when it comes to hiding those edges for this scene. You can see it's just kind of distorting it out and making it look a lot more cool around the edges. So that's one of the main reasons why we're gonna be using this. The spin is cool, but I would like it to have more of a fluid motion. So I'm gonna go into the M Music Video plugin. And this has a ton of different effects inside of it. Typography, it has dreamy overlays, transitions, zoom in, zoom outs. I really like the motion adjustments that you can get from this plugin. So I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna drop on a dynamic. And what this dynamic does is it gives you a ton of different movements just based on overall movement in the clip. So this can zoom in, it's gonna zoom out, and it's really just gonna be reactionary to what's happening in the clip. And it's gonna help us add a little bit more motion into this shot. And one thing that I'm seeing right now that I don't necessarily like is the color. Now we have to make this more cohesive in terms of color. So with this glitch effect, I'm noticing that it's giving the clips a really weird hue saturation adjustment. So I'm just gonna turn that off to get us closer to our skin tones. And then I'm also gonna turn off these pixels as well. And you can see right here, this is still not cohesive, but we'll get there, I promise. All right, so this is where we're at right now. We wanna add a little bit more things on top of this. So now I wanna focus in on the color and get this to more of a cohesive look. When it comes to green screen, for me, I think that grain really adds to help sell the cohesion inside of the scene. So with this M Restyle pack, another one of the sections that it has in here is retro. I love retro a lot, and these retro overlays just give us some grain, it gives us some color adjustments, all that sort of stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go through and try to find one that matches what we need for this scene. Now, if we look at this, this just looks a lot more cohesive. It has a nice warm tone to it, and it makes the background and the subjects inside of the background feel like they're all part of one scene. And then this effect also has a lens distortion as well. If I turn that on and off, you can see that it's also fraying the edges of the shot a little bit more, which I think is a good look for this. And then it has a bunch of different other settings that you can adjust inside of here as well. I'm gonna take off the bad film and I'm gonna keep the noise on. The film coloration is great. And we can also build on top of the color after the fact. So this is just a good base. It's making everything feel cohesive. and it just gives this overall scene just a more vintage vibe. Inside of the in-music video pack, one effect that I just love for scenes like this is the kaleidoscope effect. Now this is very similar to what you would get if you put like a kaleidoscope in front of the lens, or even like a diopter. You can see over here on this left side of the frame, it's blue. And when we play through this, it's gonna also just be reactionary to the scene as well. So it's gonna take certain parts of the image and it's just gonna reflect those into some other parts of the image as well. Now these packs for motion VFX have a ton of different other things that we can add to these shots as well. I think that this looks good as is, but just in these packs, it has text overlays, it has low shutter effects, light diffusion, a bunch of different things that we can add to the shot. I'm actually gonna add a light diffusion as well, just to see what that looks like. Another really good thing about the motion VFX plugins is that they're basically just drag and drop. So remember I built out that second scene with the shadows in it? All I have to do to give that exact same look to that scene is just drag it over top of that clip, which is awesome. So if you already edited down the majority of your music video and your green screen stuff after you've done the composition of the shots, you can just drag these effects over top of it and it'll affect the next clips the exact same way. If you guys are looking to pick up any motion VFX products, right now is the best time because they're running Black Week sales on all products throughout this entire month. So right now, all products are 30% off, and then every week throughout the month, they're gonna be unlocking specific deals on certain products. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's gonna be a link down in the description below. But hopefully this video helped with green screen for anybody who was intimidated on trying this technique out, because for me, it took me a really long time to dive into it. But once I understood compounding clips and organizing the shot how I needed to be, dropping in backgrounds, adjusting that, and also these effects have made it so easy to make the shot feel cohesive. Green screen has been a breeze, man. I highly recommend you guys check out motion VFX products. I use these for everything, and you can even check out the music video that I took these clips from. Right now, it's gonna be a link down in the description. Use motion VFX products throughout that entire music video. Check it out. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I'm out, guys. Peace.